the ether. In Kabbalah, Kether. Kether is up here, right? So that's the Father. And then you point to the heart, the Sun, that's the fire. And then you do the shoulders, that's Gemini. The air, Spirit. Now, see, it's all there. I'm just pointing it to you. You already know all of this. You're just remembering it now. And Plato said we are here to experience anamnesis, the remembering, the reconstituting of what we all know. You are all high priests and you are all exquisite knowers of this esoteric truth. You are just remembering it. And I'm just helping you along the way and just pointing to you and showing you where everything is. It's there. Like a jeweller would put a clock together. You wouldn't know how to, would you? You'd see those little little springs and little cogs and little bits of jewels, and they make a watch out of it, and you can tell your time. And you've seen those little ladies' clocks? Handmade? Who makes those cogs? I want to pat him on the back. Who's making all the beautiful computers that we do? It's so powerful. We are powerful.
Machines, I think.
We're really powerful. And we are gods. And instead of telling our little children in school, we're going to call you youngsters, children, because you are young stars and you are the seeds of a star. How about that? Kindergarten teacher. Do you think we're going to get any of that? No, because you send them to a state school to be brainwashed. And this is the knowledge they're running from. They're running from this. Try and tell a priest about all this, about Yod He Vav He.
This wasn't... The Catholic Church did not sort of... this was not used since well before the Catholic Church.
Can I get a water, please, if you don't mind? Sorry. Yeah, I'm really getting dry. I've finished all my water.
You got 8 minutes left, 7 minutes left.
No worries.
With your ascending sign, my sister who studied, she said you could see your ascending sign in your body shape.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And
Yes.
you mentioned numerology, so is it tied with numerology at all?
Yes.
It is.
Yes, it is. You'll find that 90% of the time they harmonise with your numerology. Absolutely. I'm looking for my fairy tales book because I've remembered that I was told you that I was going to wrap 7 wonderful circles around here. From now on, when you go out there and you see Aries and Taurus and everything, you're going to understand what they mean. And you're going to see the story of the hero, how these signs tell you that he becomes a hero, like the moon in her glory at full moon. And all the planets, they all have their ruling house, their detriment, their fall and their exaltation. And it's all scientific. This is science. Cardinal fire. Well, everything is... See this cardinal, fixed and mutable. What does that mean? Well, cardinal is the beginning, that's the middle, and that's the end energy, to put it simply. Just imagine a fire hose. Creator, preserver, destroyer. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Growth, birth, growth, decay. G-O-D. What's G-O-D? God. Would that be generation, operation, and degeneration or dissolution? Yes, it would.
Or destruction.
Or destruction. Imagine a fire hose, right? It's very powerful water at the start. Very powerful. And that's what the cardinal signs are. Very powerful people. They move in a straight line, mate. Believe me, you want to see when I'm going somewhere. I don't like anyone in my way. And it's my nature. It's my God. Aries is there. Mars is doing things to me. He's making me martial. Making me martial. And you find that Arians are good fighters. Like Steven Seagal, Jackie Chan. Great Arians. People like that. Electric people. Eddie Murphy. Just, woof, a lot of electricity. Because it's cardinal fire. It's at the bottom. It's at the birth part. It's not at the growth or the decay. The decay will be mutable, mutating. These signs have always got two twins, 2 fish, man, horse, and Virgo is Mercury, which is the coming together of man and woman. These are and the fixed ones, they tell another story. They tell the fixed qualities of the person. These people are fixed, very fixed. That's why these people have got the big necks. Earthy, Taurian, solid, like a bull. Oh, you beauty. Thanks, mate.
I was going to ask, the constellations, we go through the ages the other way.
Yes, in procession.
Why is Aquarius related to the cold Saturn? Golden age.
Yeah, good point. But that's a bit difficult. But it has to do with the spiral, right? Every 24,000 years, we don't go around and go back to the same point in evolution. We've gone up the spiral, right? And precession goes backward, but the day and the sine wave goes forward, because we are going clockwise around Sirius. That's why. If we get a pole shift in next year, which is quite possible going to happen as we go through the galactic plane, because that's what happens, you do, is a reversal of polarity, right? If that happens, then this science has to be readjusted, recalibrated. And it has been recalibrated. This is the science of now and of the last, say, 30 or 40,000 years. And it was given to us by we ourselves. When we were gods, then we fell to demigods, then we fell to heroes, and then we fell to the human consciousness. And we are about to be downloaded with a massive load of consciousness soon. Are you finding that you're starting to work things out more and see things and see the massive gap between you and the consumer out there? The guy that's going to the footy and Collingwood's going to beat Carlton, you know, and he's at the pub and you see them, you walk past the pub and you see them, they're all drinking and they're sitting out smoking outside there and they're all eating and drinking and not taking any note until the flood came and swept them all away. That's what it's talking about. So Christians are right when they read the holy science and the prophecies and the eschatology that is in there. There's eschatology in the Bible, the science of the end. And we're living in the end time, the time of the harvest. Virgo. See, Pisces. It's been the age of Pisces for 2,000 years, but look opposite. It's also been Virgo. Now we are going to Aquarius, and guess who? The heart chakra. We're going from there to there, courtesy of the Son, Christ Jesus. This is the Christ chakra, and this is the baptism, and this is when Jesus says, I'll be knocking on your door. If you open the door, we shall have an evening meal. That's the Saviour that Sri Yukteswar is talking about in Holy Science. Treat him well when he visits, because he will teach you all things via the labyrinth, the holy science, the temple of David, the tabernacle of Moses in the wilderness. This is everything. King Arthur's round table. It's all the myths and all the fairy tales. Okay, so with cardinal, that's at the start of the hose. Then you can imagine that beautiful curve of the hose, that beautiful form. You can imagine that being fixed, and then mutable is always drops. It fragments, disappears. And what about a little baby? Cardinal, a mature man standing up erect, fixed, and then a little old man on his three, mutable. Right? There's many ways you can look at it, but it's God. It's the start, the middle, and the end, and everything does it. So everything comes, and this is the Holy Trinity, by the way. This is the Trinity. It's the triplicity. Fire, fire, and fire triplicity. Water, water, and water. I've colour-coded that, aren't I? Clever. See? Blue water, blue water, blue water. Woo. So good. And so they are the triplicity. And guess what? They all have their turn. Water has its turn to be cardinal, to be fixed, to be mutable. Right? Do you see that? And notice where fire dwells. Fire dwells here, cardinal fire, 6 a.m, sunrise. Hello? It has to be there. Because that's the sun coming up as a little boy, man, old man, dead. That's how they said it. Plutarch, all the philosophers. The up cycle, the down cycle. And then here you've got the doors to the kingdom of heaven and the door to the kingdom of hell. The two trees in the Garden of Eden. The tree of life, because the cycle is everlasting, and longer days, shorter nights. The tree to the knowledge of good and evil. Good and evil. once you eat from this tree, on the day you eat from it, you shall positively die. And then God had to make skins for Adam and Eve because they're going down into winter outside of the Garden of Eden. The land flowing with milk. Milky Way galaxy. Interesting. Between Scorpio and Sagittarius. Would they be pointing at something? Yes. If you find Scorpio the most magnificent constellation in the stars, bar none, it looks like a scorpion. It actually does look like a scorpion, like that. And its tail, and there's Sagittarius' arrow, that's the centre of the Milky Way galaxy, right there. November the 22nd, May the 22nd. We're coming to that in 7 days. The crossing. That's when, those are the most powerful days. That's when you kill JFK on the 22nd of November. If you want to kill the big rooster, as the French assassins who killed him said. Did you see the documentary? Where those French assassins came out and said, we did it. It's on YouTube. Check it out. Who killed JFK? When they got the letter, when they got the job, and they said, all right, they said to the CIA guy, well, of course, run by George Bush, killers, murderers, they killed John Lennon. When he said, he asked the question, who's the job? They said, le grand coq, the big rooster, the big boy, the biggest. That means JFK. Nice job. That's when you do it. Now, fairy tales. And you're going to see that there's days here that are designated for certain things. You want to start a war? You do it on the 20th. That's when they invaded Libya. On the eve of the equinox, before you go into Aries, Mars, to be marshal to fight your wars. That's when George Bush started his war in Iraq in 2003 on March the 20th, same day. And then they finished it conveniently on May Day. Osama bin Laden's dead, Hitler's dead. Let's start the Illuminati Day. 6 weeks. They famously call it the 6-week war, rubbing it in our noses, telling us that we have a sacrifice. This is the month of that sacrifice. You fight people and kill people because they're killers. They are killers. You want to see the... It's all run by the Vatican and the Zionist Jews, if you want to know who's... It's the Mother Church and the Father Church. Church of Satan and the Church of Jesus, the Jewish Church and the Christian Church. That's what they are, and it's run by the Jews. You need to listen to Rabbi Finkelstein on the documentary, The Lying Jews, and you'll see how they're rubbing it in your face. The Goyim are so freaking stupid. They'll buy any of their poisons. Even the kids, when you go to Shell shop and you see all those chocolates for children with all that aspartame in there, and you look at Mummy, I want this chocolate. They demand it. And we give it to them. Oh yes, and the Jews, according to Finkelstein, and the Catholics, they're criminal cartels. That's what they are, doing business with us, and we are enjoying the sodomy. Because they've been sodomizing us for a long time. Fairy tales. Orpheus, Eurydice, Eros and Psyche, Jason and the Golden Fleece, the labours of Hercules, Sigurd and Brynhild, Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. There too, in forms which can be traced with ease, we have the stories of the fairyland, the germs of the 1001 tales of the Arabian Nights, and the narratives of giants and dwarfs and enchanters, of men and maidens transformed by magic arts into beasts and birds, of riches hidden in the caves and bowels of the earth, and guarded by trolls and gnomes, of blessed lands where all is bright and sunny, and where there is neither work nor cave. Whatever indeed is strange or fanciful, or takes us straight from our grey, hard-working world into the sweet and peaceful country of once upon a time, can be found in these ancient Hindu books. So he traces them back to Hindu sources. The Aryan race has to be, because we are Aryans, and it has to do with this. We are now Pisceans, the ones incarnating now. We are the Piscean race. That's our base core race. Yeah, Manly P. Hall teaches that. If you listen to his Astrotheology's audio files on the internet, you can download them. They are the best thing for learning everything I'm telling you here now. You can listen to it in your car and your iPod. Manly P. Hall, the greatest occultist of the 20th century. And he's got a lot of YouTube videos. Get into Manly P. Hall and get, man, the wisdom that oozes from Manly P. Hall. So all the heroes, it's all the sun. And they all mean the same things. That is, the relation between the sun and the earth, the succession of day and night, of winter and summer, of storm and calm, of cloud and tempest, and golden sunshine, and bright blue day, sky. And this is the source from which we get our fairy stories. For underneath all of them, there are the same fanciful meanings, only changed and altered in the way of putting them by the lapse of ages of time, by the circumstances of different countries, and by the fancy of those who kept the wonderful tales alive without knowing what they meant. Why do we tell our people about Cinderella? Cinderella is the story of the sun and the dawn, obscured by the envious clouds, her sister, and by her stepmother, the night. So she is Aurora the dawn, and the fairy prince is the morning sun, ever pursuing her to claim her for his bride. And as his bride, the dawn, it's beautiful when you see the sun come up out of the dawn. And why is it beautiful? Because the Virgo is at the other end. The sun is always born of a virgin. And when the sun comes up out of the blue sea of Pisces in the morning, that's water, and that's fire. So the fire, we already said, yes means fire, means the sun. In Hebrew, yes means fire, or the sun. That's that word, which we say, yes. And we shut our eyes when we pray to the Lord. Why? Yes. It's the light of the world. Look, they shall see me in the clouds. And when he comes up out of the water, every day, born of a virgin, he comes up out of the Mare, Maria, Jesus' mother, Mary. That's Mary. Maritime, marine, water. And if you get the alphabet and you put A over here, and you go B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, 13th letter, middle, A, air, spirit, M, matter, marine, and N, next door, they are the waves, the glyph in Egyptian for water, and that's Aquarius, the water bearer. And Mem, the Hebrew letter Mem, in the middle means water, and Nun means fish. In Italian, we have nuotare, to swim. It's all water. And then you go around and you see how the alphabet... Now, to learn all this, you need to read, if you're interested in that subject, Alvin Boyd Kuhn, like Manly P. Hall, another great occultist who teaches this, how the alphabet is here, and he's exposed this to the world. And also the numbers are in there. The numbers, which I'll go into later, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The numbers from 1 to 9 are here.
You're going to run out later.
Huh?
You're going to run
Oh yeah, big time. Little Red Riding Hood gets devoured by the wolf and then comes out alive at the other side. The hunter, the darkness, the wolf. To learn how every myth and fairy tale, I would suggest you read these books. These are the best from the 1800s. You've got Myths and Myth Makers by John Fiske, and fairy tales, their origin and meaning. When Perseus kills Medusa, Perseus is the sun and Medusa is the starlit night. The stars, they run away when the sun comes to town. You can't see the stars behind the sun. It takes up all the light. Sorry, I'm the hero of the show. That's why Christians act the way they do, the artificial Christians, who believe in the historical Christ, which is the biggest lie ever told. And that lie needs to be exposed by someone who knows. Like, how about someone from the Piso family? The Piso family have had someone on the throne of Rome for the last 2,000 years. Someone of that family should know what they've done to us with the historical lie of Jesus Christ, and whoopsie-doo, we have Roman Piso who did his family tree history and everything and went way back to Arius Piso. Arius Calpurnius Piso, the guy who was behind Titus. Titus was the general who went to Jerusalem and destroyed the temple. Remember, Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 CE. This was the power behind that move. Get rid of those Jews and establish a world empire. And they'd done that with Augustus 40 years, 80 years prior to that. When Julius Caesar, and by the way, JC in Julius Caesar corresponds to Jesus Christ. That is the Messiah. Anyway, this guy has exposed that when you read this, you'll be disgusted at how they did it. And all the sexual innuendo in the Bible and all the stuff that they put in there to basically, they've mutilated the Bible, but it's still a document in which you can find this truth. It's still there. It's just you have to look for it. But these people tampered with it and made the Christ story a literal story. They placed it in time. And that has been the greatest evil. And how much killing have they done ever since? Christopher Columbus, this country. Remember what they did to the blacks in this country, the Christians? They came here, it was Christ. I'm telling you, they came with their crosses. No, not all of them.
Some of them were deeply loving, compassionate.
Absolutely.
Sacrificed their lives to
Yes. Yes.
Well, I think polarised is not.
No, it's not. It's not. I'm not doing that. Do you understand? I'm not trying to do that. Is that, or am I? You think I should be a little bit more clear about that? Because I'm not. I'm not trying to do that at all. But the reason why I say this is that I know the history, and I've done seminars on this. How the Vatican owns the title to the whole planet, all the souls therein, via the claim of right that they made through their papal bulls. And one of those papal bulls was written up in 1471, 11 years before Columbus set sail. And when Columbus came back, he signed contracts with the King of Portugal called the Treaty of Tesadillos, in which the Vatican, Alexander, the Borgia Pope at the Vatican, blessed and accepted as the title for all the Americas. And that is how they've treated us. They do own the world by virtue of that. And Franco Collins is the guy in Australia, that's the guy who's going to challenge them. Because that claim of right hasn't been challenged. They put on that papal bull that they own the world and all the souls therein, and that's why our birth certificates are tied to that. And that's why they conquered these lands. That's why they had to come here and take this land, because it's a business, it's a corporation. Those trusts are corporations, and they make money on them. And they've enslaved us by doing that. And they're running a business. All of this is a business. It's all a business. The Americas, everything. It's all business. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is the Christian power, because the religion that they use, the deceivers in theology, is predominantly Christian. The fictional Christian, because I'm teaching you true Christianity here. Christ is the Son. So when I say that, that's what I'm saying. He's not the only guy who's exposed that. So has this guy about Arius Copernicus. Okay? So, and they've exposed, and let me tell you, if you read this book and you realise who's behind all the injury in the world, the banksters, right? But he's got a chapter in here, and it's called Monotheism, Money, Militarism, and Monarchy. That's the cabals that have joined in order to enslave us. But monotheism, please believe me, is our enemy. It's our enemy, monotheism. And the Christians, those empire builders, those corporations and imperialists, did all their murders with the blessing of the Vatican. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that to polarise us and to hate what's happened, but it's a business, and they cannot do it unless they have their priestcraft, i.e. the cardinals, blessing them. They can't do it unless there's a papal bull in the vault in the Vatican and to act on it. They can't do it. Like they can't hoodwink you when you go to court. When you go to court, everything about court is ecclesiastical. You're going to confess. It's the sacrament of penance. They've monetised money, sin. They've monetised sin. You're going into court to confess. It's a hearing. There's the clerk, the cleric. There's the scrivener notary. Scrivener means a writer of indulgences. All those writs, all those fines and summonses comes from a scrivener. Scrivener, vene, scribe means to write, and vene is an indulgence. They're telling you. They give you an attorney who turns you over. They give you a prosecutor, prosecutus, representing one's own flesh, cutus, skin. So he goes and represents, he goes with a summons and he says, Your Honour, I've got this charge against this guy who's the beneficiary of the Sestui KV trust, by the way. You're the beneficiary of that trust. Remember that when you go into court. And don't change roles with the judge, because this is how they're hoodwinking you, and they need the blessing of Saturn. They need the blessing, the Latin in the courts, because it's the Church of Saturn, the Grim Reaper. That's why they wear black. It's all ecclesiastical. You're going there to confess, and we are paying money to the Vatican. And it's run by the Zionist Jews. Simple as that, through the private guilds. How they do that? Okay, I wasn't going to get into this because this is another presentation altogether. But, oh, look at that. There's your local sheriff with a cross on his thing. That is an officer of the Inquisition, people. When you learn what Franco Collins is teaching, you'll see that's an officer of the Inquisition. That's the 3 crowns of the Pope, the tiara, the triregnum. They are the 3 Sestui KV accounts that hold your soul. They are the kings of your soul. That takes away your personal property through your birth certificate. That takes away your real estate. This takes away your soul. And that's Pope Boniface in 1302 that established that papal bull. So when they go a-conquering, and the Temple Bar, that's in the City of London, that's the people who run the courts, who run that fictional court by the false empire. Yes, magic, because they are doing their magic on you, and they do a trick of it. There's the tiara. There's the Pope's wearing it. That's 666, because the trusts are called Sestui KV. Sestui is 6. That's the king, the mark of the beast. The beast are you and I, the fools who have signed up to the system. And that's what they're doing. They're rubbing it in your face. That's why I say, and I say that I know what Christians did. I'm talking about the imperialist corporate Christians. That's Christopher Columbus landing. Within a year, they wrote back to Spain saying, this man, on this island there were 3 million inhabitants, there are only 200 left. Your soldiers have butchered everyone. They just butchered and butchered and butchered and butchered and butchered. Right? Sure, there were pilgrims that went, that were running away. There were Hermeticists that were running away to America, and there were good people. It's full of good people. There are more good than bad. But it's the corporations that are bad, and it's corporations that use Christianity to spellbind us. They can't do it legally without the blessing. That is the Pope in 1862. Pope right there, blessing all these, the army of the Italians. It's scary when you think about it, but we have to bust this system. I mean, it needs to be busted. It needs to be either ignored or dealt with. And I think that if anyone was interested in really studying that aspect of our history, I've got some websites that will be very, very handy to go to. That's Franco Collins. And they all connect to my website called universaltruthschool.com. Universaltruthschool.com. And these are all Franco Collins, and this here teaches here where you can create an ecclesiastical deed poll and you can collapse those trusts.
How can you really tell that something is completely trustworthy? I mean, what sort of questions can you ask to get to the root of it so that you know it is true?
Well, I actually have a DVD of the seminar I did exposing this, if you would like to know this. I've got a DVD. Rome filmed it. I did it at the Nexus Forum meeting. Yes? Well, you don't have to write these because they are all connected to my Universal Truth School. You see the links on my Universal Truth School website. All of these Franco Collins ones. But there's great reading in here. There's great stuff in there. Have a look at that. That is a painting by Giorgio Vasari in 1572, Pope Gregory's army, navy, 200 ships in the Bay of Naples, going to Turkey with the Inquisition, with the Crusade against Turkey. 200 ships in the Bay of Naples. That's only a portion of the Navy. That was only a portion of it, 200 ships. That has morphed into the US Navy. It's been morphing and morphing and morphing, and it's a corporation. They're just corporations. But they're getting sued and they're going to come down. The corporations will all be a thing of the past in the next few years. Believe me, I know this. It's going to happen.
What is your understanding of the Antichrist?
Okay, the Antichrist is in fact Christianity. It's the people saying, Lord, Lord, did we not perform many miracles in your name, and did we not expel demons, and did we not cast demons out and do powerful miracles in your name? Of which he replies, get away from me, workers of lawlessness, I've never known you. It's Christianity. Because what they're doing is they've counterfeited this true science. These are the 12 apostles. This is Christ. Why is he the Lamb of God? Why is he the fisherman of men? Why is he the Son of Man, the scapegoat of Israel? Why is he a virgin, born of a virgin, the bread of life? Why is he the Messiah of the tribe of Judah, the Lion of Israel? Because the lion rules in summer. When the sun goes through that sign with Sirius in the back and there's the dog days, that's Jesus of the Lion of the tribe of Judah. That's Jesus the twin. Have you seen any information about Jesus being a twin? No. See, you have. Yes. Yes, you have. And I'm glad you have, because it saves me having to show pictures like this, because I bring them along because I'm trying to... There's the 5th century mosaic in the imperial palace at Constantinople, and it is Joseph with Jesus and Geminus, meaning literally the twin. The concept is old. Jesus is the good beetle. How many church fathers called him the good beetle? The lion, the bread, the just one. Be wise as serpents, and yet cautious as doves. I came not to bring peace, but to bring division in the world, and a sword. He carries the sword, and that's the division that he brings. December the 25th is the birthday of the Son. John the Baptist is 6 months older than Jesus. Remember Elizabeth and Mary? Mary trudges off to see her cousin. And then John the Baptist, woo, he's 6 months old in the belly, and he just jumps because Mary has the Son of God in her womb. Well, if he's 6 months older, he would have his birthday over here on June the 24th, St. John's Day. And is there a scripture in the Bible that says, he shall go on increasing, and I will go on decreasing? It's all there. When Jesus has died and resurrected, he goes to the beach, and he's going to wait around for 40 days. 40 days and 40 nights. 40 days and 40 nights. From here to here is 40 days and 40 nights, roughly. From here to here is 40 days and 40 nights. roughly. They call it the 40 days and 40 nights. This is the wilderness, when Jesus goes into the wilderness. He gets baptized by January, Aquarius the water bearer, the wet month. At the age of 30 degrees. January the Baptist, John the Baptist. So, when you see all these days, and why did he say, he shall go on increasing and I will go on decreasing? Well, it's all there. When Jesus was walking on the beach after he was resurrected, he looks out in the Sea of Galilee and he sees his apostles and he says, "Oi, did you catch any fish?" "No." "Put your net on the other side of the boat." Pulls it up, they pull the net up. "Catch any fish?" "Yes, the nets are bursting, bring them to shore." And he's got a little fish on the beach and he's cooking this fish and he's got some bread and he's going to feed his disciples and tell them what to do before he sends to the heavens. This happens here. This story. I'll explain that. It's all here. All the stories, Little Red Riding Hood, anyone, name it. You name it and I'll interpret it with this. Or it will interpret it with this. Anyway, they said, the nets are bursting. All of a sudden, they counted the fish. How many fish did they find? Does anyone know this story? It's amazing. And yet Christians read this and they go, Christians, I'm not attacking Christians. Please understand. I've already established that. I'm attacking the way they interpret this beautiful wisdom. That's all I'm doing. Okay? There was 153 fish. Ooh. Oh, wonder what's so interesting about 153. Well, Pythagoras knew what 153 was. So did Empedocles, his disciple. That's how many fish they caught. That's the number of the Vesica Pisces. That's the number of the fish. Two circles sharing a common radius. Circle 1, dot. Circle 2, and you have a fish swimming there. The measurement from there to there is 153. It's the measurement of the fish. 153 as opposed to 265. That's the 265, 153. It's the number of the fish. Empedocles knew it. All the sacred geometry teachers and the teachers of this holy science, physics, knew it. And so there it is embedded in the gospel. Why would those 153, I mean, here's a gospel that's supposed to be teaching you how to ascend to the heavens and give you the science of salvation, and these 153 fish get in there and, hey, I want to get in the gospel, I want to be holy, I want to be numbered in the Bible. It makes no sense, really does it, to count the fish. But it shows you that they're hiding it in there, and the Piso man brings that out. He brings out how they borrowed from Plato and how they borrowed from Hermes and put it in there. How many sacred days? Here, on the 6th of August, in the Bible, is when the sun is transfigured. It's the middle of summer. That's the transfiguration. On the 15th of August, you have the Ascension of Mary. Wind up, 5 minutes. And you have the Ascension of Mary. And then you have the Nativity of Mary in September, on September the 8th. Well, the Ascension is when the sun goes into Virgo and takes all her stars away. She's ascended. And then when the sun climbs another 30 degrees and comes out of the Virgin, then she's reborn again. The Nativity of the Virgin. 25th of March, that's when Gabriel says to Mary, you shall conceive. 25th of March, count 9 months, and the sun is born. That's the birthday of the sun, the 25th of December. Exactly 9 months. And Pentecost, around about May Day, that 49 days, remember, that's when, in the womb, here's conception, that's when the embryo becomes a fetus, and then 5 months later, the baby drops. Virgo, the belly, the baby drops, 3 months later it is born. This is the cycle of the birth of man. And it starts here on the 25th of March. And that's why they always celebrate the Passover of the lamb, and they eat the lamb, the Jews. The three most important Jewish festivals of the pilgrimage were here, here, and here. Equinoctial. Christmas is here. And there are literally, just go around, have a look at St. Paul's baptism, the 25th of January. Find out why St. Paul was converted over here. Find out what it means when Jesus is born in a manger and there were shepherds and flocks outside. Well, that's because when Jesus is born on the 25th in Capricorn there are two constellations. One's called Al-Firq in Arabic, and it means the flock. And one's called Eray, and it means the shepherd. That's the shepherd outdoors. And he's born in a cave. Well, that's the cave. Capricorn is a cave. It's where Golgotha is, the place of skulls, Saturn being the ruler. All right. Anyway, there are a couple of wheels I think we've missed, but nonetheless, if you are to remember that this is the 24-hour day and the year and the points, the beginning points, we already discussed, this is the start. It was called Primus. It's right ascension. It's the start of the sine wave, and it produces this beautiful effect. And when you look at it, it corresponds to physics. Cardinal fire, fixed fire, of course, it's the warmest part of the day, 2 to 4, and it's the warmest part of the year, midsummer. So of course it's fixed, and then of course it mutates here on the 21st of December. Of course that's mutable fire. Fire cannot enter into this quadrant because it's done its triplicity in the kingdom of Jesus, opposed to Satan's. And these are the two churches, the two brothers, and they fight with each other. Here, remember I showed you Orion was in here, in Taurus. Orion is killing the bull. He's slaying the bull. This is where our brain is, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. It's Cain killing Abel. Abel is the bull. Cain is Orion, the hero. Cain kills Abel, in that the day kills the night, like Horus kills Set, but also it's talking about the right brain, the left brain, who is the tyrant, the male side, killing the right brain. It's there in the stars. When you see Orion killing the bull, you know what it means, because that's what the occultists knew, and they taught that. They taught the inner story of what's going on here. I wish I had more time to do that and show you how the stars, how all these stars, is a beautiful story to tell, and it's in your body, it's magic. And when you look up and you see, oh, there's my heart, there's my head, all in the skies. Probably wrap up with a question then, and for the film, and then if anyone wants to stay back, I can go on. Are we allowed to do that, George?
I won't hear questions, so unless you...
Repeat them?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, like the question was.
The books you were showing here, you have them listed on the website?
Yes, I have a video now. If you're interested in all this, I have some products that I'm selling. Now that's $10. That's the book I was showing you before about the astrological body types. I'm selling that on my website anyway, but I've got a few of them here, 3 or 4, and they're $10 each. I have $20 DVDs, and this has 2 hours and 40 minutes of this with much different facts. Much different facts, and I do go into stuff like I show how before I was telling you about all the symbols that they're using. That's the sun, that's Aries, that's the sun, that's the sun. All of these cars, they're all the sun. That's the winged disc, Viracocha. It's all the sun. Holden, there's Leo on the sun. Of course you're going to use the sun. There's Leo, there's the sun, the CIA. Lucent, Lucy in the sky with diamonds, the eye of the sun, Time Warner. There's the Elvis Presley's sun label. There's Elvis Presley, the King Ra, standing on the sun. Of course, you're not going to have some doofus symbol. All these corporations are going to have the sun. There's the black sun. Remember Saturn? 2 suns and the Vesica Pisces in the middle. The sun, 72 leaves. Very important, number 72. The sun, Time Warner, the sun, life winking at you, the sun, the newspaper, the sun, Vodafone, 666, borrowed from the Ku Klux Klan, and they're telling you in the face and they're laughing at you, buy our products please, Hyatt, the sun, the pyramid, the sun, disc over, the sun, the stars, the sun, Cancer, which is the sun, the unicorn, Cancer, and the moon, and the moon is always white, the bride, and the sun is golden, Aquarius, the water, Volvo, male and female, vulva, just put an A on the end of that. There's Mars having sex with Venus's orbit. Mars is very elliptical, Venus is softer, and that's the sun, Toyota, there's the sun. Mazda and Nissan all mean March, because the sun, the sun is passing over the equator. Nisan, the month of strength. McDonald's used the Aries symbol. Nike, the rings of Neptune, Saturn. Remember the E, ether. They always do something with the E. They always make it look, you know, oh, let's shove the E in your face, but you don't know what's going on, do you? It's ether. Or it's the 5th essence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or the 5th letter of the alphabet. 5, they're telling you about L. 5. See the 5? Because it's the 5th essence, the quintessence. Double X, Walmart, that's the sun. The Union Jack, Jack means the sun. Sun, that's the sun. The 4 stars, what are the 4 stars? Who can guess which of the 4 stars?
Aldebaran and basic thought.
Aldebaran, Regulus, Antares, formal out. Now, just one more thing, and then I'll leave that. The Korean flag, spirit and matter. Remember the A and the M? That's fire, that's water. Water, mem, marine, earth, fire, air and water. The 4 polarities. It's all science. All of these symbols are science. We've forgotten the meaning. They're all science. There's the man, Aries on the head, Pisces at the feet. There is a scene, a Christian scene, of Mary being announced that she will be a virgin. She's a virgin. She will conceive. It's in Egypt, in Luxor, in the temple of Luxor. And the 3 wise men coming to do obeisance to the cloud. It was covered in stucco for thousands of years. They've just recently uncovered it in the last century. And there it is. There's the nativity scene of Christ. There's Leonardo da Vinci, the Last Supper. There's Jesus with his 4 seasons of 3 clusters. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. There's Dionysus with his 12 helpers. There's Horus coming up from the horizon. Horus has risen. The horizon. There's the 12. Everywhere you see the 12. There's always 12. And they say, these deniers that watch Zeitgeist and try to debunk Zeitgeist on the internet, I laugh at these fools. When I see them, I think, you don't know half the science, that you're just muddying it with your stupidity. They're trying to dethrone or debunk Zeitgeist, who's talking about all of this. And they said there that Mithras had 12 helpers. Well, the guy said plain clear, says, nowhere in history have we ever found any evidence of Mithras having 12 helpers. There it is. Is that the one? No, that's Horus. I probably don't have the one of Mithras, but have a look at the guy who debunks the debunker, and he's got the picture there. You can get it on Google. Just go in Google Images, Mithras and his 12 disciples, and it'll pop up. And this guy debunking Zeitgeist, and he says there's no evidence in the world. Thank you.
Warm welcome, and thanks for turning up. Excellent. Very nice. What I want to do is I want to achieve three things today and hopefully transmit as much knowledge to you as possible, so there's no confusion. I want to talk about the galactic alignment, what exactly that is. I want to also go through a story, the most amazing story that has ever been told. That there is the sun and all of the constellations of the heavens. All of them. That's the ecliptic. You see this sine wave? That's the journey that the sun makes backwards through the 12 signs of the zodiac. And as it goes backwards, comes to the age of Pisces where we are. Pisces is over here, Aries, Taurus. But the sun, that's the ecliptic. In other words, that's the passage of the sun, and this is the galactic equator. Okay? So this story that the sun journeys and takes every day, he does all of that. So our roof in the heavens every day goes around once, that away. Every year it goes once, that away. But every 25,920 years, being the official figure for precession of the equinoxes, it goes backward. So we derive from this three cycles that are fundamental to the storytelling of the gospel. This is the one and only gospel that exists. The Vedas come from here. This is the Vedas. There are 4 Vedas, are they not? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the 4 seasons. There are 4 Gospels, are there not? There are 4, but there are 1. There's 1. And so we're going to learn about this, and as we go through the 12 signs of the zodiac, I'm going to show you that there are also in the deacons, which mean these are 30-degree slots, by the way, and in those there are deacons, which mean 10-degree slots. Right? So there are 36 of them. Well, there are 36 extra zodiacal signs. And together with the 12 signs of the zodiac, they make up the 48 that the great astrologer of the second century Ptolemy recorded as 48 constellations in the sky. So when you look up, there are 48 very prominent and important constellations which make part of this storytelling. So not just the 12 of the ecliptic, but the 3 that are attached to every one. For instance, Aries has Cassiopeia, Cetus and Perseus in it. So that's where you find Perseus, the slayer of Medusa. That's where he dwells in the story. And Jason and his 12 voyages and the Argonauts, they begin in Aries because they're looking for the golden fleece. And Hercules begins his story in Leo because he has to slay the Numidian lion. Hercules is the sun. And Herod kills John the Baptist. That's Aquarius. Because what happens when the sun goes down, sorry about moving so far away. What happens when the sun goes down in August, and I'll show you this later. There is Aquarius there, John the Baptist. And when Leo comes up, rises, John the Baptist gets beheaded. Alright? So we're going to learn that every single story in the Gospels, in the Vedas, in the Trojan Wars, all of them come from this. There's your book. And we're going to learn about this book. I'm going to show you some parts of the Gospel here. And what I want to focus is around the constellation of Taurus, because there's Orion there. And Orion is doing something very important. He is guarding the tree of knowledge of life. And then I'm going to go to Scorpio, and there's a big story to tell there. Because Scorpio sits directly under the scales of Libra, and he waits. he waits every year, Scorpio. He's waiting every year under the scales of Libra, and when the sun goes through, where do we put this? There's the ram. Whoops, over there. When the sun goes through the Libra, there is Scorpio waiting in the winter. And there's a big story to tell here. This has to do with the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This has to do with the tree of knowledge of life in the Garden of Eden. And that's why I'm going to go to Taurus. Alright? So it's going to be really fun. It's going to be fun to expose the Bible for what it really is. Not to shred it to bits and do what Voltaire did and some of those philosophers that made it appear to be useless to mankind. It's not useless. It's got some good stuff in it. But it's not to be taken literal. It's just storytelling. And because when one knows all the stars of the ecliptic, and one knows that when they see Aries, they know it's spring, and Taurus is telling you to get your bull out and plough, and when they see and read the stars, like the Bible says in Job 38, the Lord says unto Job, he says, can you tell forth the Mazzaroth? Do you know how to tell the seasons? And can you read the signs of the zodiac? The Mazzaroth is the zodiac. And that's what Job was implored to do. Because one who does that will be very, very wise. And he'll be able to tell and make prophecies based on this, because it's cyclical. And all prophecies are in these cycles.
Nostradamus from that.
Oh, for sure. And we're going to see a bit of that later. Yes, Nostradamus. Now, by the way, I gave you a figure of 48 constellations. Well, there are 88 now in modern times. There's been a few contributors to those in the recent couple of thousand years since Ptolemy. But I want to concentrate on the 48 because that's where the Gospels are focused. And the last thing I want to do, so that's two things I'm going to do. The galactic crossing or alignment, that's better. I'm going to do the storytelling with the 12 signs of the zodiac, and then I want to show you how astrology is born of this science, so that you really, really will have some really good skills, and you'll be able to say, oh, he's a Capricorn, I can tell the way he's walking. And you will. You will. I'm doing it. So let's get into it, shall we?
Yes.
All right. The galactic alignment. Now, and there's a good book by, I haven't even read it, but I've heard all of the interviews by John Major Jenkins. Yeah, he's got a book on the galactic alignment. Now, a lot of people are talking about a planetary alignment. Well, there ain't none. Ain't any. There aren't any. There will not be one. Correct myself as I go. That is, I'll put it up that way because the ascendant's on the right position. Sorry, I didn't have time to make any proper visuals that you can really see clearly. That is 2012. The 21st of December 2012, you will notice there are no planets aligning. Not a one. Well, there are. There's the Moon and Uranus in Aries. But that's it. So if it's not a planetary alignment, as a lot of people are erroneously suggesting, what is it? Well, it's a galactic alignment, okay? I'm going to draw a graph, and what I'm going to base it on is the terrestrial version of this sine wave that's happening in the skies. There is an old map, and as you can see, the equator is there, and you see the passage of the sun through the 12 seasons. Alright, 4 seasons. They're really 12. But, or you can say 2, summer and winter. And as you see, the sun will climb up above the equator 23.5 degrees to reach the Tropic of Cancer. Then it climbs back through over here in Libra again, goes through Scorpio, goes down to its death in winter on the 21st of December at the solstice and dies there. To be reborn on the 25th of December 3 days later and climb back the holy mountain of God in the sign of Capricorn, the goat climber who wishes to climb the mountains. Okay? So I'm going to base this, I'm going to draw this up now, and I'm going to show you where the galactic equator is. Now, George, did I send you those links where we can put up the...
Yeah, I can do that.
Do you think we could do that in around about 5 minutes? I've just thought I'd give you some time.
Right.
That's fine. Yes, that's good. We'll do that. Well, I'm going to go through that. First I'll do this. So there's the Earth. It's round, isn't it? Last time I checked.
I'm not sure about that.
Yes. Well, it's flat. From this angle, it's flat. So the Earth's flat. There's the equator.
Proof. Right there.
Hey?
Proof.
Yes. And that there is the Tropic of Cancer. Here goes the Tropic of Capricorn. And there's our little sine wave. That's the sun's journey. Obviously, I've stretched this out a bit. It's supposed to be 47 degrees. Okay, because of the Earth's tilt. 23.5 degrees. I'm writing this up because later these points will come back.
Have you got black?
I have. Am I going slow enough? I don't want to go too slow and I don't want to go too fast because I don't want to lose anybody. So there's the Tropic of Cancer. And on June the 21st, which is coming up now, by the way, look for a couple of things in this month. We're having 3 lunar eclipses, one on the 15th of June, next week. Very, very important. On that very day, Saturn commences to go, Saturn's been in retrograde. I've been watching it. It's physically in Virgo. They say it's in Libra because there's a 30-degree displacement of the zodiac, which I shall explain, but it's physically in Virgo, and I've watched it, and it's been going backwards, retrograding, and now it's going to start going forward, and that will happen right on cue with the eclipse. This is very profound. After the June the 25th, June the 15th this year, just a couple of weeks away, big changes, because when Saturn decides he's going to start going forward, there's a lot of stuff that happens on the Earth.
So retrograde simply means to go.
It means he's going backwards, or he appears to go instead of obviously the sun. If the sun did this and then went like that during the day, we'd go, "Hey, the sun going retrograde." The planets are doing it. Why? I'll just explain. Let me just divert a little bit to explain how simple it is to understand retrograde. Because
Backwards, I mean.
yeah, retrograde means going backwards. So the sun, the moon, everything goes one way. It goes east-west. But we've noticed that the 5 planets from time to time do this. Right? And Ptolemy explained that as circles. He said what they're doing, the planets, is they're going like this. And that's the retrograde, that little bit that we notice from here.
The Earth does that too, doesn't it?
No. No. Just those 5 visible
I thought
planets.
that was because of the wobble of the Earth, it does that.
That's precession. The wobble causes, well, it doesn't cause precession, but it's in there. I'll explain that one too, okay? Now, what is going on with retrograde is this. It's quite simple. If that is the sun, all of our planets are in elliptic orbits. So let's say there's Mars. Mars is very elliptic, and Venus is not so. Venus is a little bit more softer, right? Now, and we're sort of, let's say we're going around here too, around the sun. Well we are. And we'd be in between both of those, wouldn't we? So let's say ours is a little bit more round. Let's make it a bit round, okay? Now, so we're cruising around this way. We're going around here. And as we go around here, as Mars goes through this part of the trajectory, he will appear to be going so fast. But when Mars gets over to here, right, And it'll almost, as we go around here, it'll almost seem like he's stopping as he's going that way, because we're here and it looks like he's stopping. Right? It's like the runners around the track, right, at the Olympics. They, the track's like that, but you see, there's the tracks. This guy starts over here, this guy starts over here, this guy over here, and this guy over here. None of them have been ripped off. None of them have been handicapped. It's just that they've got to go around the curve, right? So that's what retrograde is. It's quite simple, but you can study that. Just go on Google and put in retrograde. But the thing is, when Saturn goes backwards, he withholds all his positive things. He hasn't got many positive things, but the positive things that Saturn gives us are really, really, really positive. But he gives us a lot of negative, because the astrologers say he's probably 50% of all the sicknesses and ills on the earth. And together with Mars, 90%. They are the malefics. The benefics being Jupiter and Venus, of course. Now, so when this is the solstice, this is the longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere. Over here we have the winter solstice, December the 21st. Here we have September the 21st. Here we have March 21st. Now if you know about the equinoxes and solstices, you will already have picked up that I've made a mistake with September the 21st. It's the 23rd. But I'm keeping it simple, because usually the handover day from one sign to the next is the 21st, the eve of the 21st, the 22nd. Okay? But it doesn't matter. That's good enough. Okay? Now, so what we need to do then, so this is obviously the Tropic of Cancer, so this must be, this delta 30-degree slice of the cake is Cancer. Here we have Leo. Here we have the Virgin. Let's go down this way. I'll go down this way first. Libra. Scorpio, Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces. So I want to just fill that up here. Libra, Scorpio, Sag. This is very uneven, but I'll do this later and we'll make it much better, because I've got a lot of information to put in here. Aries, of course, Taurus and Gemini, which is the sign we're in right now. So, as the sun goes around, it crosses the Milky Way twice, right here. That's where the Milky Way crosses. Between Taurus and Gemini, and Sagittarius and Scorpio. Sagittarius's arrow and Scorpio's tail are pointing to the centre of the Milky Way galaxy. I'm going to show you those pictures right now. As I said, there's Sagittarius and there's Scorpio, and they're actually pointing. Oh, that arrow's convenient, isn't it? They're pointing to the centre of the Milky Way galaxy, and there's the ecliptic. See how the ecliptic runs through the zodiac signs? That's the sun's path, but this is the galactic plane. Okay? Now, just take a notice, there's Lupus, the constellation Lupus. Here's Scorpio. This is Ophiuchus, the 13th sign of the zodiac. I'm going to show you what that means later. Sagittarius, Capricorn's down here. Over here you see Centaur. Yeah, you'll notice the Centaur. This is also a Centaur, isn't it? Sagittarius? Right. Half man, half horse. There's one over there too. He's got a spear and he's killing Lupus. But if Lupus the wolf was not there, it would be going straight through Scorpio, and that's what Sagittarius is trying to do. He's trying to kill Scorpio, and Ophiuchus is standing on Scorpio's head in fulfillment of the prophecy in the Bible. You shall be bruised on the heel, and you shall bruise him on the head. Because Ophiuchus means serpent holder, and he's actually holding a serpent. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. And this
How does the heel thing work?
Ophiuchus,
Yeah.
which you don't see very well on this because this is what you call a star finder, isn't it? It's just an application on the internet. So it's not really pointing out very well and naming them because there he is. The name's up there. But Ophiuchus is the 13th sign. He's in there between Sagittarius and Scorpio, the famous 13th sign that we're talking about. He's a mysterious character because the Babylonians never put him in there. It was the